There's a favorite passenger scoreboard on every flight, and most people don't even realize they're playing. The best part is you can end up on the good side in under 10 seconds, and it costs exactly $0. And before we start, this isn't me guessing. I pulled these from crew stories I kept seeing everywhere, like flight attendant TikTok and the flight attendants community on Reddit, plus a few flight attendants I asked directly. All right, here are 11 things flight attendants secretly love. And quick heads up, watch number 9, because a helpful habit people do all the time actually makes the crew work harder. Let's start with a 1-second habit that earns you points before the plane even leaves the gate: the way you greet them when you board. When you board, there's a flight attendant standing there doing the same routine over and over. 300 people walk past like they're swiping through an app. And maybe 10 people, 10, actually look up and say hi. That's the whole cheat code, because in those first 2 seconds, they're clocking who's present and paying attention, and who's mentally already in row 28 fighting with a podcast. I had a retired flight attendant tell me I could spot it instantly. Someone would actually look up and say, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'd catch myself going, "Oh, hi!" like I'd just been snapped out of autopilot. Then she laughed and said that's how rare it was. So here's the quick switch. Pause your call, pull one earbud out, make eye contact, and give a quick normal greeting. "Morning." That's it. 1 second. Then keep moving. You'll feel the vibe shift. Not like you're getting special treatment or anything dramatic, just they're more relaxed around you. You're easier to work with. You're not a problem they have to manage. And honestly, this is the kind of passenger they feel good helping when something goes sideways. Okay, saying hi is the emotional bonus. The biggest bonus, though, speed. Right at the aircraft door, don't create a choke point. The best move is having your boarding pass already in your hand as you step on, because this is exactly where people suddenly forget their seat number and start doing that frantic, "Wait, where's my pass?" dig. And when that happens at the door, it's brutal. Nobody can slip past you. The line just freezes while you're elbow deep in your bag, trying to find the one thing you literally just had 2 minutes ago. So keep it out. Know your row and seat before you get there. And it's not just about speed either. Having your pass ready helps you in a pinch. If the crew needs to double check something, or you need quick help getting pointed to the right place, you can show it instantly. Remember, the plane door is not where you open your backpack like you're looting a video game chest. Once you've got that part smooth, the next thing that decides whether you get side-eyed is what happens at the overhead bin. Smart luggage arrangement is one of those tiny things that makes flight attendants quietly love you, because it means they don't have to come over and repack the bin like they're doing free labor. Here's the easy rule of 3. Wheels first. Push it all the way back. Coat goes last. Wheels first matters because it fits the way the bin is shaped, and it keeps the bag from eating up weird space. Then actually slide it back to the wall, deep, so the next suitcase can sit flat instead of getting stuck at that awkward angle. And save the soft stuff for the end. Coats, scarves, that puffy jacket, those are great for filling the little gaps once the hard bags are already set. Do that, and you're basically saying, "I got you," without saying a word. Right before takeoff, the crew does that last cabin check in record time. It's basically a countdown, and every time someone pops up, it's like the whole cabin hits a little speed bump. Honestly, everyone just wants a smooth rollout. If you can, hit the airport restroom before you board. I know, sometimes the line is an amusement park ride and you're sprinting off a connection. But once the door closes, bathroom trips tend to create little pauses right when the crew is trying to finish up and get you moving. If you truly have to go, go. If you've got a choice, going early makes everything flow. Then get settled. Sit down, clear the aisle, and try not to do the wait, "I packed it where" rummage during that final sweep, because that's when the space is tight and they're trying to wrap up without playing obstacle course. And the safety demo, you don't have to watch like it's cinema. Just catch the exits and the basics. That's it. 5 seconds of attention now saves you from having a brand new question in the one moment you'd actually want answers. Once you're in the air, keep the seatbelt on loosely. Just enough that it's there. Those random little bumps love to show up uninvited. All right, because if you think the tight seat is the most uncomfortable part of flying, wait until we talk about what your senses deal with up here. The cabin's worst enemies aren't legroom, they're smell and sound. Sometimes the cabin's worst enemies aren't the seat size. It's the stuff your senses can't escape. Up there, nobody can just walk away. If something smells strong, they're stuck with it. If something's loud, they're stuck with it. 35,000 feet is basically a group project with no escape hatch. Scent is the big one. What feels like one quick spritz on the ground can turn into a whole cloud in a sealed tube. And it's not just taste. Strong perfume or cologne can trigger headaches, nausea, even breathing issues. A good rule is if people notice your scent before they notice you, it's too much. Keep it light or skip it on flight day. Sound is the other one. If your phone's playing videos out loud, everyone around you just got drafted into your feed. Same with speakerphone or loud games. You might tune it out, your neighbors can't. And once someone gets annoyed enough to say something, the crew gets stuck mediating a situation that didn't need to exist. Make it simple. Headphones in, volume low. Talk like you're in a coffee shop, not a stadium. Tiny move, huge difference in the cabin mood. And if you want flight attendants to visibly relax during service, there's one little courtesy you can do the second the cart gets close. Want service to feel easy? There's a small thing you can do that makes you a dream customer up there. When the cart's getting close, just pop your earbuds out, both of them. Because that cart isn't snack time, it's an assembly line on wheels. If you can't hear the question, the flight attendant has to stop, lean in, do the little hand wave, repeat it, and now the whole row behind you is watching the line stall like, cool, we live here now. And if you really want to be the smoothest stop, order like you've done it before. Not
coffee.
Long pause.
Do you have sugar?
Just go. Coffee, 2 sugars, 1 cream, please. Boom, everybody keeps moving, and you look like a pro. It sounds small, but on a short flight, those little pauses stack up fast. All right, we're about halfway through. And the next one is where people swear they're being polite, but it's also the exact moment crews start getting tense. Not because you're rude, because you're standing in the one spot they need to work. Quick picture in your head. On a plane, the galley is basically the crew's office. It's where they prep, reset, and grab the quickest break you can imagine, usually standing up. So yeah, 2 simple rules around those galley curtains. 1, don't hang out right in front of them. Stretching, chatting, pacing, it turns their workspace into a stage, and suddenly it feels cramped for everyone. I saw a flight attendant on Reddit describe it perfectly. He was like, my break is 30 seconds in the galley with a granola bar, and there's a passenger parked at the curtain staring in like it's open kitchen dining. That's the exact vibe. 2, if you're waiting for the lav, don't build a little crowd at the curtain. If you can, hang back by your row, or just shift a step to the side. It keeps their office door clear and gives them a little breathing room. And if you want a super easy way to be helpful without even standing up, it's what you do with your trash when they come through. I call it the one-pass trash strategy. When the trash bag comes by, you hand over everything in one clean shot: cup, wrapper, napkin, bottle. Not piece by piece, not, oh wait, I have more after they've already moved on. One pass, one handoff, done. Because that trash walk isn't casual. They're juggling a bunch of things, so when people are still collecting trash mid-aisle, it turns into extra stops and extra reaching. And please, don't use the seat back pocket as your personal landfill. Let's just say, there are some very awkward surprises in there sometimes, and nobody wants that job. If you want an easy upgrade, keep a small bag, grocery bag, snack bag, whatever, as your little trash pouch. And if you can, tie a quick knot in it before you hand it over. It's cleaner, it won't spill, and it's honestly just kind of sweet. When they come by, hand it over and you're finished. And here's the whoa part. There's something people do with the best intentions that actually creates more work for the crew. Remember that little note I told you to pay attention to at the very beginning? Yeah, this is it. Plot twist, you think you're helping, but you're actually slowing them down. A lot of people try to tidy up by stacking their used trays into a neat little tower. Looks efficient, right? Except the cart they're collecting into isn't built for a tray tower. Those meal carts have sliding tracks. Each tray is meant to go in flat, one by one. When you stack them, the pile is suddenly too tall to fit. So now the flight attendant has to stand there and unstack your little tray tower like they're taking apart Jenga, while the line behind them waits. If you want to make cleanup smooth, keep everything contained on your own tray and hand it back as is. That's it. No tray architecture needed. And when we get closer to landing, there's one thing you can do early that saves them from having to walk around and remind people one by one. Landing is when the cabin has to go back into locked mode. If your seat's still reclined, the person behind you gets surprise squished right when they're trying to brace and get comfortable. And if your tray table is still down, it's basically a wobbly platform just waiting for a normal bump to turn into a mess. So when you hear that landing announcement, reset your space, seat back up, tray table stowed, and whatever you've got in your lap put away. The crew loves it because they don't have to do the cabin tour and remind everyone one by one while they're trying to finish their final checks. And the most chaotic part is still coming, because the moment the wheels touch down, people immediately start doing the one thing that drives crews crazy. All right, wheels down. This is where a totally normal cabin can turn into a parking lot with wings. Getting off fast isn't about who pops up first. It's about timing. Planes work best with a zipper merge. Your row goes, then the next row goes, back and forth. When it's your turn, you move. When it's not, you let it breathe. The move that keeps this smooth is doing your prep inside your own little bubble. While you're still seated, get your jacket on, zip the backpack, put the earbuds away, cap the bottle, grab what you need. Basically, handle the "where is my stuff" moment before you're standing in a narrow aisle trying to do it one-handed. Then when your row's up, it's clean. Stand, grab, and step out. No scavenger hunt, no fumbling, no turning deplaning into a stop-and-go line. And if the crew asks people to hold for tight connections, help them out. You're not giving up your place for the rest of your life. You're giving someone a real shot at making their flight. So, now you know. 11 things flight attendants secretly love. Small moves that make a cramped, stressful flight feel way smoother for everyone. You don't have to be extra. Just be the kind of passenger who makes the crew's job easier, not harder. And remember, number 9, good intentions don't always equal helpful. And if you only remember one thing, make it this: be easy to work with. Now I want to hear from you. What's the one habit you often do to help flight attendants? Is it the one I mentioned above? Drop it in the comments. Also, hit like, subscribe, and send this to your travel buddy. Fly smart, fly kind, and be the passenger they're quietly grateful for.